I wanted to be a part of the Absent Father event because, for one, children, and even as adults, being without an absent father affects your life in some way, shape, or form. A lot of times we go through life and we make a lot of mistakes, but we don't realize the root of those mistakes. And so for me, my root was not having a father in my life. And it happened in my life around 13 years old, where I found out my father that I thought wasn't my father wasn't, and my mother had divorced him, and so now she became a single mother. And so my life happened and my world was crushed. And so I went through life trying to find love in all the wrong places, when actually my father should have been the first man in my life to tell me he loved me, to tell me that I was beautiful. And so I went looking for those things. And so that was the root of my life. And so being a part of the Absent Father was an amazing experience, and it's a subject that needs to be touched on because there's so many kids and so many adults that struggle with it, even as an adult. Um, you know, I have to deal with my youngest son delicately because I was once in his shoes going through a lot of the behavioral changes. And right now, he's just trying to find himself. And so with him, I have to give him that love that my mother didn't give to me. My mom didn't make me understand the changes that was happening in life. My mom didn't help me understand all the changes that she was going through and the absence of my father. Sometimes kids will see the situation, but they don't understand why. That's like telling a person, okay, no, you can't do this, but they don't know the reasons behind it. And so with my son, I'm letting him know the reasons, and I'm giving him that love and support, and actually taking it a step further to get him some help. Because a lot of times with family, we don't get the kids help. We see it and we sweep it under the rug because we don't want to deal with it, and we all hands off with it. But sometimes if we don't want our kids to get lost in the system or get lost in themselves without having a father there, we have to step and stand in the gap and put them in a situation that's going to better them for the better, where they can look back at their life and look back and say, thank you, Mom. I read a story about an inmate. An inmate wrote a letter to his mother. He was on death row. And one of the things in that letter is he blamed his mother. But he said, I forgive you. He said, I went through life and I was growing up and I stole, I stealed, but one of the things that you did, Mom, is you helped me. He said, you remember when I stole that bike and you helped me hide it? He was like, you was condoning my behavior. You remember when I stole the neighbor's money out of his wallet? You took me to the mall to spend it. He said, if there was any justice in the world, you would be on death row with me. He said, my dad is not even in the house now because you got in an argument with him because he just wanted to discipline me. He wanted to give me correction, and you put him out. And he said, now I am a malformed man, and I am facing death row. And if there was any justice, you would be on death row with me. So he wrote that letter, and he told parents, if anything, you need to discipline your children when you see them do wrong and not condone it, because now he's looking at death row. And if there was any justice in the world, his mother should have been sitting there on death row with him. That was powerful. And I shared that story with my son because I told him, I do not want to see you be a subject of the system, become a malformed man. With God, we're going to turn this thing around. And you are going to be the man that I speak over your life every day. You are going to be everything that I dreamed you're going to be. And we're going to speak it, we're going to believe it, and we're going to pray about it. And I was upset. The human part of me said, you know what, I give up on my son, I walk away. But that's what the devil wants you to do. The devil wants you to come and just say, forget it, and give up on your child. But I said, no, not my child. I'm going to take him to God, and he is going to be everything that I imagine him to be. And so today, my son went off to a military school, and I am more proud of the decision that I made. And I know God is with us every step of the way. My name is Alissa R. Jones, and I am the founder and director of Survivors with Voices Foundation. I have a book out called The Stones That Built Me Strong, and I am just excited about what I do. I help survivors heal the wounds that can't be seen. A lot of times we go through life and we just don't know who to talk to. If therapy isn't your thing, or anything like that, we do peer-to-peer support. And so you can follow me on Facebook at Alissa Rochelle Jones, and that's ALISSARACHELLEJONES. And I'm also on Instagram at Alissa R. Jones, and on Twitter at Alissa R. Jones. So follow me, connect with me. I would love to have you a part of the foundation. I would love to connect with you just on a personal level. And if you want to hear more of my story, definitely check out my book, The Stones That Built Me Strong.